Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for this moment in time. We thank you tonight for our Nottoway School Board members. Thank you tonight for our clerk, our superintendent. Thank you tonight for our students and staff. Thank you for the parents that are here tonight. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to be able to come together to continue to work towards the betterment of our students and our schools. We are mindful of this season of year that we are in. Thank you for your blessings, for your mercy, and for your wisdom. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda with one very minor change, and that is to add the high school to Part A of awards and recognition. May I have that motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Awards and recognition, Dr. Martin.
Chairman, members of the board, and citizens that are here. So this evening, we have a special highlight that I would like or have asked to add to the agenda tonight, and that's to recognize Nottoway High School. The school performance ratings came out, and this afternoon or this morning, I received a letter from the superintendent of public instruction. So I would like to read it, and Mr. Abbott, if you would like to recognize Mr. Wilson. It says, "Dear Principal Wilson, I am pleased to congratulate you and your school community on achieving the distinguished category on the Commonwealth School Performance and School and Support Framework, an honor that reflects the highest levels of commitment, consistency, and belief in what your students can achieve. Recognition of this caliber is a result of strong instructional leadership, empowered teachers, engaged families, and a student-centered school culture that prioritizes excellence. This distinguished status is a clear indication that your school is exceeding the state's expectations for achievement, growth, and readiness for the next grade level or graduation. Leadership matters. Your student success showcases what is possible when adults lead with vision, act with purpose, and maintain a relentless focus on student growth and achievement. I want to personally thank you for modeling the kind of leadership that moves education forward, being attentive to data, responsive to student needs, and optimistic about the future. Under the School Performance and Support Framework, distinguished schools serve as exemplars whose effective practices can be shared across the Commonwealth to support strengthened outcomes for all students. Therefore, we look forward to learning more about the best practices underway at Nottoway High and student supports you and your team implemented to help your school achieve this success. We hope other principals and school teams will have the opportunity to see your work in action and learn from the best. Please extend my gratitude and admiration to your entire staff. Congratulations again on this extraordinary achievement. Your school is a shining example of what excellence looks like, and I am proud to recognize your leadership." And that's from the Superintendent of Public Instruction.
And please, thank your entire staff.
Yes, sir.
Can we get a picture together? All right, on 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
So our school highlights this evening also come from Nottoway Intermediate School. This evening they're going to share some of the learning activities and music in their library classes and some of the focus on STEAM that they've been doing at the school. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Smith. And I think his students are in the hallway.
A lot of students.
Oh, yeah. Very nice, very nice.
All right, good evening. Good evening.
Mr. Abbott, Chair Abbott, members of the board, Dr. Martin. We're excited to talk about NIS highlights. We are going to talk about 3 programs that you're going to hear a little bit today, and also we're going to have our performance at the end from our music and choir program. But we're going to start with our STEAM and Starbase. So looking at STEAM and Starbase. Now this is our 5th and 6th graders, gifted students that have a partnership with our Blackstone Reading Center. And this Starbase is a STEAM activity that's outreached, and we work very hard to have our 5th and 6th grade students go and do a lot of activities, And one of those activities that we're going to look at is our static generator. We had our students come perform and touch it and just look at electricity. And also we look at a model of how particles are moved through our parachute. And next off, we looked at robots, our robotics. So in robotics, they look at creating a robot and seeing how it moves and compete with each other. And then they looked at a Lieutenant Ever, in which they looked at how a crash landing happens and how they do a 3D printed shuffle of looking at how we put it all together. So the Starbase program looks at robotics, electricity, mathematics, and I'm going to show you a few pictures about the Starbase program. Next up. And you can see there the static electricity there. You see the chemical reactions. You see the program in which they have the robots and they're programming it to compete with each other, and they have to code those programs. So those are very, very important that they get these STEAM-like activities. And they've done it 3 or 4 times. They're going to go back next week to do another connection with STEAM-Base. And we're looking forward to bringing our entire 5th grade in the spring. Okay. Next up, you can see some more pictures. You can see the robot they made at the bottom. You can see the 3D shuttle that they created. You can see the parachute where they have the particles move through to look through science. And again, so these are things that they did at Blackstone Readiness. Now, our next program, our library is just not checking books in and out, all right? They have done a lot of problem-based activities, and some of those you can see looking at polymers, which is looking at science and molecules. They did a really good job of that. And also, they looked at engineering with looking at creating boats and looking at how it has a weight-bearing capability. And then they looked at real-life experiences through our budgeting, looking at store ads, looking at how they can create menus. So this gives them a real life experiences, just not library. So, and our last one is our music and choir program. And again, it's an exploratory program, and all students can participate. But again, it teaches them how to look at music, read music, and then we have our choir program that looks at how to sing and how to voice reflection and just learn about music. And so we're going to get a little touch of that. We had it in our Veterans Day program in November, and you're going to get a little taste of that today with Ms. Hall. Okay, Ms. Hall? There's some pictures there of our students. You see them here today.
Y'all ready?
Nobody home, meat nor drink nor money.
much.
Very nice, very nice. Good.
Get our jackets.
Sports awards? I would say that they didn't come to see us.
This evening, we proudly recognize the outstanding achievements of student athletes who exemplify excellence on and off the field. They exhibit Cougar pride and a commitment to excellence. So we're going to start with the golf recognitions for this evening. They had a fantastic season, and we'll start with the James River District Coach of the Year, Whip Wilson.
Thank you very much.
James River District Player of the Year, Colton Lewis.
Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, come on back up and stand. Mr. Wilson, come on back up and stand.
You haven't been dismissed yet. Come on, coach.
Mr. Rowe, as former students, we can tell him he has to stand.
Yeah. Yes.
James River District regular season champions and James River District tournament champions. This was made up of the team of Colton Lewis, Karsten Beck, Spencer Lewis, Cameron McDaniel, Hayden Pridgeon, and Reed Wallace. All district players, Colton Lewis, Karsten Beck,
You think he's funny?
Thank you.
and Cameron McDaniel.
Winter time.
And all region players, Karsten Beck. And Cameron McDaniel.
Yeah, get a picture. Y'all three right in there, right in the center. Now get.
Ready? 1, 3.
No, I'm putting the oldest girl.
Thank you.
Cross-country recognitions. Bradley Hamilton was James River District Runner of the Year, All District. Virginia High School League Region 2A Champion, All Region, and Virginia High School League Class 2 State Champion, All State. Ewing Gray, All District Cross Country.
Congratulations.
And Dominic Marconi, All District Cross Country.
All right. 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's the big group.
Football.
Get out the jail. Yeah. My athleticism. My falling down.
So for football, Nasir Delaney, first team All-District Offensive Lineman, and first team All-District Defensive Lineman, first team All-Region 2A Offensive Lineman, and first team All-Region 2A Defensive Lineman. Anton Carter, first team All-District Running Back, First team all-district kick returner. First team all-district linebacker. First team all-district punt returner. First team all-region 2A running back. First team all-region 2A kick returner. And first team all-district punt returner.
Go ahead.
Jacob Alvis, second team all-district offensive lineman. Benjamin Sykes, second team all-district wide receiver. First team all-district defensive back. Second team all-region 2A defensive back. Trent Hayes, second team all-district wide receiver. Esmar Henderson, second team all-district defensive lineman. Elliot Waite, second team all-district linebacker. Mason Jennings, second team all-district linebacker. And Ephraim Stokes, second team all-district defensive back. You didn't have to do your picture.
Didn't my picture. You can take a picture of me holding this.
Goodbye. See you later, alligator.
And last but certainly not least, volleyball. Smell pretty.
Yes, indeed. Get a good smile now.
Lorraine Wilson, first team all-district, first team all-region 2A. Grayson Skinner, first team all-district, second team all-region 2A. And Willow Austin, second team all-district. Congratulations to each of you.
Get all yours.
Okay, ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Yes, I did. Which one now?
Thank y'all.
Good evening.
Congratulations, Charles.
Yes, indeed.
VSBA recognition, Dr. Martin.
So recognition this evening is for Mr. Damian Rowe. He participated in the 2025 VSBA Delegate Assembly as a delegate member for Nottoway County School Board. A certificate from VSBA for a show of appreciation for your commitment to the school division and the betterment of education is presented to you.
Oh, thank you.
Your picture. You get to be in it too, Charles.
Tap his head. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Damian.
Welcome.
See now the delegations from the public, the pre-budget hearing for 26-27, community input.
We don't have any for that.
Nothing for the budget.
The delegations from the public, public comment, Ray Jennings.
Afternoon. I just come here to ask the proposal, do a proposal. But before, I'd like to say, the reason I'm bringing this proposal is because I've heard there's a lot of bad behavior in the schools. And y'all having to send in a whole bunch away out of county. How many students is getting sent out of county to get educated because of their behavior? How many is it? Y'all don't know? Y'all the school board, y'all don't know how many students y'all sending out of the county to get an education because of behavior issues. Y'all don't know?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
How many students are getting sent out of the county for behavioral issues to get an education?
Under normal circumstances, sir, we do not comment during public delegations. We allow the public to speak, and if it requires a comment to be made or an investigation or an appropriate action, we take that action later.
Well, I apologize then.
You don't need to apologize,
All
sir.
right. Well, come to my attention, there's a whole lot of bad behavior, a whole bunch of students getting sent out of the county. Y'all have a school empty. I think it should be put to use for behavioral learning center for the students and the teachers. The teachers need to know how to handle these students. There's only 2 people in the school I understand that has the authority to put their hands on a student. That's the principal and the police officer. Well, I believe that needs to change. I mean, I think a bunch of teachers need to get an education of how to handle these students and be able to put their hands on them in a reasonable manner, like the law enforcement and the principals. That's all I have to say. I just like the Burkeville Elementary School to be used for public education for the students. You know, if it's a behavioral issue, it needs to be resolved, and the school needs to be used for that, or some kind of use. You know, y'all are sending students out of the county to get an education. Well, maybe we ought to have these other counties send them to us for education and bring some money to the county. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A motion to approve the consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, and F.
So moved.
So moved. Second, excuse me. There has been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Financial reports, excuse me, M, U, C, D, E, F. There are no action items at this time, no non-action items, information items, budget and facility update, Ms. Meyer.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Martin. Make sure this is on. So preliminary budget information, which there's not a lot that we know right now, but I'll give you what we do know. And then we're going to talk a little bit about just what we have for school needs and capital needs. So these are going to be our 2 primary topics for the evening. Going into preliminary budget information, what we do know is that the local composite index, also known as LCI, is going to increase. This is the percentage that the county is required to pay of our budget. This is what they are required to pay to fund the school division. Currently, they pay 26.96% of our budget. The rest of it comes from the state. For fiscal year 27 and 28, the LCI is increasing to 28.2%. Just to remind everyone how LCI is calculated, and the state calculates this, we do not, but it is calculated based off of 3 indicators: true value of real property, adjusted gross income, and taxable retail sales. And the LCI for the 26 to 28 biennium is based off of 2023 data. The LCI for the 28 through 30 biennium will be based upon the 2025 data, and I'm already predicting an increase in LCI for that biennium as well. So I want everybody just to be aware that the percentage that the county is going to be required to pay towards our budget is going to continue to increase. Other preliminary information that we know of right now, we know that teacher pay is going to be a big focus for us this year. It is our primary focus. Currently, we rank not right at the bottom, but 1 step above that within Region 8 schools as far as what we pay our teachers. It also means that we're not very competitive about being able to attract new teachers or, high-quality teachers. And we want to make sure that as a teacher retires or, whatever, that we're able to attract the high-quality teachers that, our students deserve. So in doing salary studies of all the surrounding divisions, our starting teacher pay has got to be around $52,000 in order to make us competitive. Now, that's not going to put us at the top because I can't afford to get us there. We want to be at the bottom. This should put us in that comfortable middle range of at least being able to be competitive. Now, what does that mean? Right now, based upon preliminary data, that means it's going to cost us an additional $788,000 over what we're paying this year. Now, where are we going to pull that from? That's still to be determined, just because I don't have the governor's budget yet. So I don't know exactly how much we're going to be getting in revenue to figure out what our funding is. I also don't know what they're planning for a pay raise. They always provide a compensation supplement for us, and depending upon how much that is as to whether we're going to be able to fund this without asking for anything additional. We may be able to fund this by, rearranging other things within the budget, which is what we're hoping to do. We don't want to have to ask for anything, additional from the county. But this is, our goal is to get teacher starting pay to around $52,000. So as we work on budget, this is kind of our goal, and this is what we're going to work towards and figure out how we can best accomplish that without, busting anybody's bank on that. So that's about all we know currently about the fiscal year 27 budget. The governor's budget does drop on the 17th of this month, so we should have a calc tool from the Virginia Department of Education, which will help us in estimating our budget probably around the first week of January. So we'll be able to provide a lot more information come January as we work through budget and we go into budget work sessions and all these other meetings with you all. So to talk about capital improvement needs and estimated cost. I've had kind of a list of capital improvement needs, but I really went and did a lot of digging and research to try to get us some estimated costs on how much some of these things is going to be, so we can kind of, really try to budget and talk to the Board of Supervisors in the county about, how they can best support us on, working on these projects. And I'm going to go school by school. And I may not talk about every single one of these, but I'm hit on some of the big ones. We did just undergo our ADA facility study, which was mandated by a House bill that was signed into law this past spring. And that, I've got the draft report. I do not have the final. Once we get the final, we'll be able to provide that to you. But based upon the draft, ADA upgrades to Blackstone Primary School, they're estimating around $607,000. Now, I have not read through that entire report because I have three 3-inch binders on my desk. I've gone through about one school because it takes a lot.
About 10 minutes.
Because there are some things that don't cost us to be able to do, and it could just be remounting a paper towel dispenser at, a proper height. So trying to really go through there and figure out, what is what. And the ADA upgrades also touch on several of these other items, like the bathroom remodels. It does not include everything that I would put in a bathroom remodel, but it does talk about, the size of stalls, the height of sinks and toilets. But it also touches on the elevator. It touches on playgrounds, because our playgrounds would need to be upgraded in order to bring them up to ADA compliance. So that does kind of overlap a little bit, but I haven't gone too much into it to actually figure out, how much. The security vestibule is another big one. As estimated, about $475,000. Now that is in progress, because whenever you all approved the revenue carryover back in October, that was part of that revenue carryover money. We were going to do the security vestibule at Blackstone Primary, because out of every school, it is the cheapest one, and we were able to fit that in budget. Now, they also need their flat roof replaced that they have. Their pitch roof is fine, but their flat roof has got several issues, and I've got a couple of pictures I'll show you. And then the other things, like new intercom system, we are actually doing that at every school, so you'll see that as in progress on every slide, that is a safety and security issue. We need to be able to make announcements throughout the school, so we really need to make sure those systems are up to par. And they are, I mean, they're old, so they are slowly starting to fail. So we want to make sure that we are addressing those. So just a few pictures of some of the issues that we do have at Blackstone Primary School. You see one, which there's a crack in the bathroom, one of the bathroom walls. We periodically go through and caulk over that so that there's no sharp edges and, you know, it's safe for the students. But that is something that really needs to be, you know, taken care of and upgraded and just done away with so that we don't have that. Plus, you know, the girls might actually like to have a mirror in the bathroom that they don't currently have now. There's a couple of pictures of the roof, and it's hard to tell, but the bottom picture, there's actually a leak right there. So we are currently waiting on a patch to be installed there so we can at least mitigate that leak for right now. And we did, about a year ago, I got a quote to actually do a restoration of the roof. My only hesitation with that is some of the underlayment and insulation is damaged from these leaks. And if you do a restoration, that doesn't get replaced. So a full replacement is really what's needed so we can make sure that that underlayment and everything is solid for many years to come. And then you see a picture of the playground equipment. And while the equipment itself is safe, the paint is chipping off, it's flaking off. We've already recovered it once. It is going to need to be upgraded. We've already put, with the use of ESSER funds, a few new pieces out on our crew in Blackstone Playground. And we have the same issue both locations with the paint chipping off the oldest pieces. So that is something in the next few years that is going to need to look at being upgraded. And all these projects don't necessarily have to be done year one. I mean, you're looking at between 1 to 5 to maybe 7 years that we need to start, you know, really thinking about all these different projects. But some are more are higher priorities than others. Going into crew, you'll see some high numbers here. So there again, their ADA upgrades are about $588,000, which primarily are geared really towards their bathrooms. So some of that overlaps with the bathroom remodels that I have listed there. They also really, all of our schools need a security vestibule, but we estimate a security vestibule there would be around $1.2 million because you would actually need to relocate the office. So it's a little bit more of a costly endeavor. The HVAC replacement, which is really, it's our highest priority need. That HVAC system is in horrible shape, and you'll hear a video here in a minute as long as it will play, of just what we have had to deal with over the summer and over the spring of last year with just pipes rupturing left and right with our HVAC system. And it is estimated to be around a $4 million replacement. So it is not cheap, but it is desperately needed. They also need some other cosmetic thing like ceiling tile replacements, continued painting. Intercom system is gonna be a priority at every school, so that's in progress now. And then just the other items I have listed there. Will it let you play it from there? It may not. But it was a picture, it was a video from where it was literally raining inside the building. So you can go back to the other screen. It's okay. But the other picture on here is actually of the pipe that ruptured that caused the waterfall. And I mean, it's just, they're just shearing off. They're old, they're 30 years old. PVC does not typically 100% last that long, especially in the high heat that we have in that attic space. That attic space can get upwards of 150 degrees. So over time, you know, that PVC is not holding up, but I mean, it has held for 30 years. So it is needed to be replaced. As part of the HVAC replacement, we would have to replace all of that HVAC plumbing with it, along with all the ductwork.
What would that PVC piping be replaced with?
Well, I will say mine and Mr. Templeton's preference would be that we actually go with an HVAC system that is not in the attic. So we could actually go back with PVC because we wouldn't have the extra heat and it would be sustainable. one, it is a little bit more of a cost-effective measure. I mean, right now, up in that ceiling, we have everything from brass to copper to PVC. We have all of it. So it's not uniform throughout. That's some of the other issue. As things have failed and they've replaced, they've mixed different media up there. So, you could go back with PVC as long as we did not go back with units in the attic, because that would cut down on the heat that we have, and would allow that to last for many more years. Plus, you also have a lot more option with PVC now.
I think I have it. I gave access for you.
Okay.
You can refresh that.
You can
Maybe.
refresh it and see. Gravely, myself, several of my custodians, we were there. Paige's foot was he was the one who took that video. He was there. I mean, this was probably the worst one out of all of them. It was truly pouring in the building. It was quite the endeavor. So it's things like this that they are constantly dealing with. Crew Primary has several other issues. I mean, they've got drainage issues within the ground, period. Some of that we've been able to mitigate over the last couple of years. There is a foundation issue, which so far we have been checking on it, and the current fix that we've got is holding, and we haven't seen any more additional movement.
Has the Board of Supervisors been sent that video?
No, they have not. But I'm sure they might see this presentation, so.
Please. Yeah, let's send it to them.
Presentation that we would have used, part of
Oh,
the
yeah.
presentation for Monday evening, so.
Oh, okay,
I asked Heather to make sure she shared it with you
Oh, yeah.
tonight, and you'll get this copy as well.
Please make sure.
Exactly.
So going into Nottoway Intermediate School, there again, ADA upgrades, probably one of the more costly schools just because of the age of the building, around $713,000 in order to make that building ADA fully ADA accessible. Now, it is the most costly for a security vestibule at about $3 million. You have a question? Okay, so make sure. And then you'll see on all three of the complex schools, milling and paving. We have several potholes that have unfortunately just gotten worse this week with the snow that we have gotten. So this facility really needs to be completely milled and repaved in order to just take care of our pothole situations. Repaint the parking lot lines. You can actually see kind of where you're parking in certain places. Now, the intermediate school, at some point over the next, I'm going to say 3 to 5 years, is going to need a roof replacement. There are a few leaks, but the current leaks are all part of old ventilation systems that are up on the roof that are no longer used. So as we've been finding those, we have actually been cutting those off so that water can't get in them. So hopefully that'll mitigate that. But the total roof by itself is going to need to be replaced in the next several years. It was last replaced in 2004. So it is getting very close to that end of life. I believe it was 25 years. So we are getting to that point where it is getting end of life. They will also need at some point to look at an HVAC replacement. Their system is relatively old. It has VAV boxes, which are variable airflow boxes, where some of them aren't fully working. Some of them are stuck open, some of them are stuck closed. We've replaced a couple of them, so that will need to be something in the next several years that we'll need to be looking at. And then flooring replacement. Now, this is about the only school I put this on, mainly because, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell it in the picture I have, if you walk down the hall, and in some of the classrooms, some of them are worse than others, you see some ripple in the tile. And we found out when we replaced the carpet when we removed the carpet out of the library, that the concrete that they put down when they last remodeled, they didn't really level it. So over time, it has started to warp and wane. And granted, we're able to, with wax, be able to make sure that it's flush and you don't feel it when you walk, but you can see it, especially when the light hits it right. And then other things, they need additional ceiling tile replacement, painting. They're also getting a new intercom system, and then bathroom and playground.
Heather, may I add one thing for the ceiling tiles for them, just so that they're aware? So some of it is cosmetic in the sense of, as you can see up here, this is a new water spout we just found this evening. So that's a leak on the roof somewhere, and this has got a lot of technology. So they have to be replaced every time, because if not, we're gonna run into mold and mildew. However, at the intermediate school back in September, maybe, it's not just the ceiling tile. When they get into the tile, we had a situation at the intermediate school where we had to get the students out of the classroom and section it off so nobody could go in, because the structures holding it up had started to collapse, and the roof was, the ceiling tile part was coming in, and they had to go back in and anchor it up and things like that. So it's not just ceiling tile. Yes, ceiling tile is a problem, but because of the mold and the mildew and all of the leaks and things, but it's also the infrastructure that's in there that's holding it up. In a building like the intermediate school, it was on the second floor, that it was that room, and I think it was one other room that we looked at, that was a possibility that it was, I mean, it was literally.
The J-hooks that were holding them into the ceiling had failed. And I'll say, a few years ago, we did all the ceiling tile in the hallways and in the cafeteria at the intermediate school. And when they did those, they fixed any issues that they found along the way and re-anchored where they needed to. So that is one that we have to keep continuously monitor to make sure that we're not seeing that in any of the other classrooms. So that if we do, we can go ahead and address it as quickly as possible. But it is where the hooks that are holding the grid in place are starting to fail because they're old. I don't know when they were put in, but they're old. So, that is one of the major concerns there, is because that could be a major safety issue. So it's something that we have to constantly inspect on there. And just a couple of pictures here. One is of the roof. You'll see that we've started to get some of the discoloration on the roof. And that's from where water is ponding here and there when we get rain. Of course, I was up on the roof when it was a little icy when I was taking that picture, so it was a little wet up there. And then the other, so it's kind of hard to tell. I tried to get down as low and tried to get the light on it where it kind of ripples down the hallway. So they really do at some point need at least their flooring kind of shored up and fixed, and just make it look a lot better and a lot nicer. I said our custodians do a decent job during the summer of trying to make sure there's enough wax on it where it's level, you don't feel it when you walk on it. But as the school year goes and that wax wears down, then you start to see those ripples a little bit more. Nottoway Middle School, there again, 88 upgrades. There's just not as much, around $483,000. Now, security vestibule there would cost approximately around $2.3 million. And that's all dependent because they have some movable walls. But we also don't know what the floor condition's like when you try to move those movable walls, as to figuring out exactly how to reconfigure that front space. So that could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more. There again, milling and paving. They've got a couple potholes out front that we have filled multiple times, but I noticed instead after us plowing snow this week that one of those potholes that we filled has a new crack in it, so I really look for that to start coming out probably soon as we get more snow or more water or more anything. They're also going to need a roof replacement. Their roof replacement's about $1.5 million. It's not that large of a roof. They have a couple of spots that are starting to wear, so I would say we probably have a good potential 5 to 7 years left on their roof before we need to look at that one. And then ceiling tile replacement, and for them, their issue with ceiling tile stems from a chilled water pipe that runs through the building. And that chilled water pipe is the original chilled water pipe from when the building was built in 1982. and it's wrapped with a special insulation so that as it condensates, it doesn't come through that insulation. Well, the insulation's old, it's deteriorating, so we're starting to see drips and leaks, especially when the HVAC, the air is actually on. When it's heat on, you don't see it. When the air conditioning's running is when you see it. So you're constantly seeing wet tiles that are constantly having to be replaced because of this chilled water pipe that just needs to be re-insulated. And I'm actually hoping, because it is only estimated around $80,000, that we might be able to do that as a summer project and go ahead and knock that one out of the way. Additional painting, intercom system. High school's gonna get the first one, middle school will be second as soon as the high school's is installed. Here's just a couple of pictures. One is of the pavement out front. That's the one pothole that we've continuously filled and it just keeps on coming back. The one is of the roof, and you'll see that dark spot. There's actually a roof drain there, and it's supposed to go down towards the roof drain, but now we have a little pit that's about a foot from the roof drain where it's just kind of ponding. And they have to go up there every once in a while and sweep that off and make sure that that's just not sitting there. High school, there again, ADA upgrades. Even though this is the newest building, built in 1995, there are still some ADA upgrades that need to be done. Security vestibule here, estimated about $725,000. Milling and paving, now theirs takes up the most because they have the most amount of parking space. So about $600,000 for that. It's about I think 1.1 million for the entire complex to do milling and paving. Elevator upgrades, I mean, that's just kind of routine maintenance that we need to start looking at. We already do routine maintenance, but every once in a while you really need to kind of upgrade some of the guts of the system that move the elevator. So we're looking at trying to just estimate kind of how much that's going to cost. Ceiling tile replacement, painting. So they're getting the intercom system first. It's already on order. Waiting for them to get all the parts so they can get it as an install date and get out here and get that installed. And then bathroom remodels. You'll see a picture of the bathroom. And nobody was in the bathroom when I took it, so just want to make sure everybody's clear on that. But I do want everybody to understand that, you know, I'm 5 foot even. And I can see directly over top of those doors at 5 foot even. And I can tell you that I would not want to go in that bathroom and use the bathroom, knowing that there's just a lack of privacy. This is something that really I would like to really tackle and make sure that, you know, we can really redo these bathrooms nice, make them look nice, and really be able to allow students to have at least some semblance of privacy whenever they need to, you know, actually be in the restroom. School board office, there again, I mean, that was part of our ADA study. There are ADA upgrades that are needed there. It does need a new septic system. I think once a quarter, we have to end up having somebody come out there and address the septic system because it just is constantly having issues. And then one of the things we have been looking at, because I mean, if you've ever been there on a busy day, it is not easy sometimes to get in and out of that parking lot if you got people coming from both directions. So we've looked at, you know, trying to add like a little side parking lot and just repave it and try to make it a little bit more easier access for people, especially whenever it is a busy day for traffic in and out. Galubic Stadium, this was included in our ADA. It was included in our facility use study several years ago because it is off-site. All the other athletic stuff is included with the school stuff that's on site. There again, ADA upgrades, about $228,000. Now it needs all new locker rooms and all new bathroom facility. What's there, we've had to fix the roof where it's caved in here and there. It is truly, it needs to be replaced, like bulldozed and start over. Upgrade the concession stand if they want to continue trying to do concessions during ball games. And then there's some other things at Galubic that, you know, we would like to have done, but a lot of that stems with the ADA upgrades, which is making sure that the stands are accessible for those who, you know, either in wheelchairs or for those who might even have a baby stroller, just making that accessible for those. So it's just some notes and reminders. I don't have a lot up here. I said the governor's budget does drop on December 17th. We do have our first public hearing on budget in January, so we'll do a little presentation prior to that to be able to let people know kind of what we know from what was in the governor's budget. But I will say The last time we had a governor, propose a budget, and then we had a new governor come in office, that was the year that the budget was severely delayed. And I firmly believe we're gonna see, the outgoing governor propose one thing, and the incoming governor is gonna want some changes. So I think it's gonna be a very up and down year with budget as far as what's gonna be the end result, once, they come to hopefully some sort of conclusion and agreement. Any additional comments or questions?
Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Division and School Discipline Data Update, Dr. Lewis?
All right, so good evening,
Good evening.
Chair, Mr. Abbott, Dr. Martin, school board members. So this evening, I'm just going to be sharing some data from September to November. Remember, I came in August and I shared some data, so now I'm going to give you an update. So where we are now, and Dr. Gravely, you can click for me. I don't need to. So where we are now, if you'll notice, we have approximately 455 discipline incidents and sequences and consequences that we've given out, but it's down from where we were last year. Last year, this time, we were at 531. So we are seeing a decrease in our discipline infractions. So total for Blackstone, they're at 63, Crew 50, NIS 103, intermediate school 103, middle school 111, and high school 128. And so if you just kind of look at the numbers, some of them are actually still the same at this time of the year between September and November. If you look at Crew and the middle school, they're still the same, but there is some differences in the high school, which you'll notice it was 258, now we're at 128. So we are seeing some reduction in our discipline infractions. So we do attribute this to the reduction to our stakeholders being involved, our school board, school level administrators, school staff, teachers, admin, and of course that's the modeling the expectations, reinforcing the expectations, holding students accountable, and of course including our parents in that process. So now I'm going to go by month. So for September, there were 98 discipline infractions. Blackstone had 15, Crew Primary had 12, intermediate 13, middle school 25, and the high school 33. So that's what we had in September. Then for October, we had a total of 230, and for whatever reason, we noticed, even with our data last year, that October is that month where we seem to have more discipline infractions, more attendance concerns. So we had 230 in October. Blackstone had 36, Crew had 20, intermediate school had 44, middle school had 58, and the high school had 72. For November, we had a total of 127, and November is a shorter month, but it was 127 consequences and sanctions that we had. Blackstone had 12, Crew 18, intermediate school 46, middle school 28, high school 23. The next set of slides that you're going to see is by the categories and by schools. So what I've done is kind of broken down the discipline infractions into the categories of behavior that impedes academic progress for students. And this category looks at the non-compliance that's happening in classes, excessive talking, disrespect, being put out of class, walking, not going to class, things of that nature. Also behaviors that endanger self or others, which would look at threats, assault, striking a staff member, instigating violence, aggressive behavior. Vaping is also in that particular section. And then the next area is behaviors that occur with safety concerns, and that includes your fighting, throwing objects, shoving, and also bus distractions. So by school, so the first school is Blackstone, and remember they had 63. And so the behaviors that impede the progress of students was 26. The behavior that endangers self or others was 26 also, and behaviors for a safety concern was 11. Then we have crew primary, and for them, remember they had 50. So behaviors that impact their academic progress is 19, endangering self or others is 21, and then for safety concerns is 10. Nottoway Intermediate School, remember, had 103. So the behaviors that impact their academic progress is 67. Behavior that endangers self and others is 28. Behaviors that are safety concerns are 8. Then for the middle school, remember we had 111. So behaviors that impact our academic progress of students is 74. Endangering self or others is 28. And behaviors of concern, safety concerns is 9. So if you'll notice, the higher is the behavior that impacts our student progress for our schools. And lastly, but not least, is the high school in their categories is behavior that impacts our academics is 93. Behavior that endangers self or others is 29. And behaviors of safety concern is 6. So like I said, that area where we have that non-compliance, talking back, disrespect, that's that academic that's impeding our academics. Behavior that's impeding our academics. So next steps. So what we're looking at doing is we do have a behavioral specialist that's coming on in January. We're excited to finally get her. She finally is able to come to us. She will start January the 5th. Her primary goal will be able to work with each school with strategies to support students that are not doing well, teachers that need extra support. So she's going to be housed at the intermediate school, but we're really, really strongly looking forward to her coming on and being that extra support that we need in order to put strategies in place, not only just for students, but for our staff members as well. She would also be someone that would meet with parents to be available for those meetings also. We're also adding a fulcrum counselor. So there are mental health counselors that come in, and parents have to, of course, agree for their child, son or daughter, to be seen by them. But we are adding one for the primary school. So we currently have one that's shared between Blackstone and Crew. So now we will have one at Crew and Blackstone and still have our fulcrum counselor that's at the complex. And at the complex, not only do we have a fulcrum, just a counselor, we also have a behavioral guided counselor as well. So he supports students that need that more support with behaviors.
What is a fulcrum counselor? I know what a fulcrum is, but I'm trying to,
so they're
probably different than my understanding.
Well, there are counselors that they're a mental health agency, and so they focus on things that might be going on with the student, whether it's their anxiety, depression. So they're our mental health counseling agency. Yes, sir. We have Crossroads that also is a counseling agency. So, but Fulcrum actually is in our building. We did have Crossroads, but unfortunately the budget was cut. So we only have Fulcrum in our buildings now. But they do have a large population of students that participate with their services. So because of that, we've been afforded to be able to fund another counselor for each primary school. The goal is that if we put a counselor at each primary school, we can hopefully work on the behaviors at the smaller level, at the lower level, so that when they get to the intermediate school, middle school, you won't see as much of the behavior. So that's our goal, and so we're looking forward to that. And our Fulcrum representatives, they are working on a counselor. It is hard to get one in the middle of the year, but they are strongly working on getting us one as soon as possible. Our administrators are being encouraging. They're being encouraged to review their data monthly. Even at our principal and AP meetings, we're discussing their data. They're sharing their data. We're talking amongst ourselves and say, hey, what are you doing? What are you not doing? That way we share strategies to make sure that we're working towards reducing our discipline sanctions. Admin are contacting parents and requesting that they come in for conferences, not just phone conferences, but come in for conferences. They're doing observations to kind of pay attention to see what maybe we can put in place, share with the teacher, share with the student, to put in place to support the student. They are having individual meetings with students. They're encouraging the counselors, getting them signed up for Fulcrum. We look forward to our behavioral specialists also supporting some of those students. They are creating behavior plans. Not sure if you're aware, but if a student with a disability, we can do what we call a functional behavioral assessment and put in a behavior intervention plan, but it's not just for students with disabilities. So you can actually go into our platform that we use for our students with disabilities and have a behavioral intervention plan created for a student that is not a student with a disability. So our staff, our admin are using that platform to create plans for students that have some of those extensive behaviors. Like I said, parents are encouraged to come in and not just call in. We're actually wanting parents to come in, sit down, have a conversation, let's explain, let's make sure we're all on the same page to, of course, support the student. Admin are also encouraged to be consistent, vigilant, and of course, we're making sure that the goal is that they enforce our student code of conduct standards that we have in place. Just to kind of give you an update, because I did speak about it when I spoke in August, but our Reset Academy is still moving strong. We're tweaking as we need to tweak. I'm also in the process of going to visit some programs. I'm going to start with Charlottesville, and I'll do that in January, just to kind of see if I can get some things that we can bring back to, of course, increase and develop our program more. But our Reset Academy, we have had 13 students participate. We still have 5 in the program. Remember, Reset is not year-long, so they come for 20 days, 25. The team decides how many days they come. Sometimes I'm a little bit like, no, we need to do more days. Sometimes they're like, no, let's do less. Sometimes we've had students come and they've done so well at Reset that we start to transition them back to kind of see how they do. But we do still have 5 students that are working through that program right now. For our alternative school, we have had 10 to participate, and we still have 6 in the program. Alternative looks a little different because remember, alternative is in the afternoon, so they come from 4 to 7:20. So it looks a little different. So when we meet, we do discuss which program would be best for the student. Reset is during the day from 9:30, and they leave at 3. So we kind of discuss which program may, give our student the best support, as well as academic, as well as to help deter the behaviors from continuing to happen. So in closing, we continue to hold our students and our staff, our parents, everyone accountable by disaggregating our data, identifying the areas of support and the areas that we need to improve, fostering safety, respect, productive learning environments across all of our schools. And I have this in here, I already told you all about me going to visit the other program. And what I'm also going to do is work on a document, procedural manual for both of the programs, so that when we present, we do have things in place, but have an official procedural manual for both of the programs. So I'm going to work with Charlottesville as well as other school divisions that have programs that are in place. Any questions? Thank you all for your attention.
I have one. Excuse me. The numbers that you quote, that's for all students, correct? Both those that might have a disability of some type. Those numbers are irrespective of, it's just that if you're a student, you fail to perform in a certain area and you are required for one of these consequences, that's how you get to be a number.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Now, what I will do next presentation is I can put in the difference between.
No, I just wanted to make sure I understood that
the numbers.
we weren't mitigating or trying to hide
No, sir.
set of circumstances that somebody that doesn't experience it from a day-to-day basis understands completely. Now, one last question. This year, my memory says that we have put 2 students on long-term suspension.
Yes, sir.
Are they part of the program at the alternative school?
Mr. Abbott, I would ask that we not, that could identify those potential students in this situation.
I just-
Let's,
That's why I didn't use a name, I just,
thank you.
My boss.
okay. I know there were 2, but just curious as to they were involved in our,
And I guess Dr. Martin can share that in closed session too, so.
Yeah, I can share that with you. in
okay,
private
thank you,
conversation. Yep.
thank you,
All right, thank you for your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
School safety audit report, Dr. Greger?
Good evening, school members, Dr. Martin, Nottoway employees and guests. Tonight I will share the update for the 2025-26 School Safety Report. The Virginia Center for School Campus Safety, in partnership with the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services, mandates this process be done every 3 years. But as you know, Nottoway does it every year. In addition to the daily walkthroughs, school resource officers complete a monthly building walkthrough checklist as well. The audits were done on 3 days, October 13th, 15th, and 17th. We started at A&TC and then went into Crew Primary, then to Blackstone, and then we finished at the complex. Each team included school administrators, maintenance staff, custodians, school nurses, the fire department, the sheriff's office, Nottoway County Emergency Service Coordinator, a parent representative, and where it's appropriate, a student would attend. We are grateful for the continued support from all the departments within and outside of NCPS. The insights and perspectives contributed by the team members during the meetings and walkthroughs were invaluable. While I can't share specific details, key areas identified during this audit include updated lighting, that's kind of common, we're continually updating that, fence repairs, updated internal radios and bus radios have been updated, security camera updates, some of which are already scheduled, and procedural improvements. I'd like to also special thanks, as always, Ms. Meyer and Mr. Templeton and their team for promptly addressing and completing the tasks that were listed in the report. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our Governor's School report, Ms. Duncan?
A&TC report. A&TC, Mr. Abbott.
I missed one. Whoops, there it is. The NTC report, Mr. Outlaw.
I will be very brief. The snow has had an impact.
Yes, it has.
We had good support at the Amelia Career Fair. As you all know, it's a joint venture with Amelia County. There was a cosmetology competition that was to have taken place, but that has been postponed for a later date, but again, the snow. So, but they're doing great things out there, and we had our last meeting, a good presentation from the building trades teacher, and it was really interesting to see his excitement and can-do attitude about making things happen, finding a way to make things happen. So that's it.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Duncan.
Yay. Nothing to report.
Then you can go to the SEAC.
Yes, sir. Please forgive me, I don't recall the meeting date for the next one. But what I can tell you is a simple call to the school board office will answer that question. But for real.
On the website too.
Yeah, and it is on the website. And I do want to applaud Nottoway. Because on our website, if you go and it's easily accessible, information about the local SEAC. It's not only easily accessible, but it checks every single box that is required by Virginia regulations for reporting. Some of those things are, you have to have accessible for who is in the SEAC and a way to contact and when your meetings are. And if you look at other divisions, which I will, I'm not going to call them out, some are non-accessible and some are non-existent. So I did want to applaud those within Nottoway for making sure that these things are there and that it is accessible. That's all.
Very good, thank you. Student liaison report.
Good evening. Okay, so we have a college trip coming up, and it's to UTI, Universal Technical Institute, and it's scheduled for sometime in January. And this college offers hands-on programs like automotive, diesel, welding, robotics, anything like that. Our band has their winter concert coming up, and that's scheduled for December 16th at 7 p.m. in the Nottoway County Public School Complex Auditorium. They will also be selling hot chocolate during this concert. The Nottoway High School is going to host a lunch and learn with a former Nottoway High School graduate, and this will focus on highlighting women in STEM and potential STEM careers and experiences. And so the Gear Up, they are going to host the STEM presentation in January, and this presentation is titled Cosmic Adventures Mobile Planetarium and provides astronomy lessons and instruction for all ages. And this is an all-day event with multiple different groups coming in to participate throughout the whole day. Clubs are starting back up in January for every single Friday, and everyone's excited for that because we have not had them in a very long time. And then Honor Society, this evening we went, and the people who sold chocolate bars in the previous months, we went shopping for the Toys for Tots, and we successfully helped a family for Christmas and donated the rest to others. So those will be dropped off tomorrow.
All right.
The Principal Advisory Committee is still hosting the Polar Express Night for Friday the 19th at 6 p.m. And then, this is new, we have been doing an SRP video. So our resource officer, Mr. Sawyer, we've been in the process of a standard response protocol video with the help of 8 of our students. And we will be presenting this video in our January board meeting for the approval of the video. And we're going to be recognizing the students that are in this video. And our students have worked really hard on this video, and we are all hoping that y'all enjoy it. And then along with the video, those students, they're going to be involved with a reunification training on December 22nd that's hosted here. For sports, all of our fall sports have ended and winter sports have begun. And they've played multiple scrimmages and they've done well, but the snow has messed up all of their regular season games. So hopefully they get them in soon. But the boys basketball team has a full roster for both their JV and varsity. And for the first time in over 3 years, the girls basketball has both a JV and a varsity. So that's super exciting. The varsity girls and boys basketball team, they're going to be competing in a James River District versus Dogwood District tournament on Saturday, January the 20th at Longwood University. And then wrestling has 7 student athletes on the roster and is scheduled to compete in 3 invitationals this year before their first district match. And lastly, we have indoor track, and both of their first meets have been canceled due to the weather, but they've still been practicing over a month, and hopefully their next one will be ready to go. So that's all I have today.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Our superintendent's report, Dr. Martin?
So we're getting ready to close out the 25 year and start with 26, but I want to start with expressing appreciation to our maintenance team, our transportation, our custodial teams. Their work clearing the parking lot, sidewalks, and just the areas across the school division, which allowed us to open schools safely after all of the lovely snow that we've had. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon either, so, we'll see what happens tonight. One of the things is we never take the responsibility of determining school closures lightly. A lot of people think that we just make a quick decision on that, and we try to communicate in a very timely manner with our families and our staff. Our goal is to always let our staff know first course, you know, and then let our families know so that staff, they're aware of it first. Student and staff safety is our priority when we make a decision. And we really aim to make that decision thoughtfully and in a timely manner. I can tell you, Cabinet has been on a phone call every day since Sunday. Last night I left. We were planning on opening on time with no qualms about it. I got out of here, so I'm gonna ride the roads just to double check too. Jay had already ridden them. Carrie and Chandra had ridden in areas too. And I went out and I was like, oh, there's a couple of spots. And then with the weather, and that's the reason why we decided on a 2-hour delay today, just as a safety precaution. We don't want one person to have an accident out there. So we don't like 2-hour delays. We try to stay away from 2-hour delays as much as possible. But we just had to do it today, just to be on the safe side with the temperatures, and make sure that people could get here safely. Please note to our families that we always try to make our decisions before 6 p.m. in the evening. So if you have not heard from us by 6 p.m. in the evening, then plan on coming to school.
Coming on time.
And the next time you would hear from us is before 6 a.m. in the morning. That allows us to make a timely decision before transportation gets out on the road. I can tell you right now, I'm sure the question is, do we have school tomorrow? Yes, we have school tomorrow, but Cabinet will probably be on a phone call at 5:30 in the morning. Charlotte does a great job of getting us all on our cell phone and merging the call in so we can all participate as we're driving down the road and trying to figure out, okay, is this safe or not? So I really do want families and staff to know we do not take this decision and make it lightly. We really look at all of the elements. We're out there. Heather and I were out there with custodians and maintenance, getting snow off sidewalks and working with them and putting ice melt down. And I cannot thank them enough for the work that they did to make sure that everything was clear on our school grounds, to get people here. I would also like to invite you to join us on December 22nd. Avery mentioned it. It's our active shooter and reunification drill. It's a training that's being conducted in partnership with our local law enforcement and community response agencies. It's an important opportunity for us to strengthen safety preparedness across the division. So we have students that are participating in it with us. I want to say that Sergeant Sawyer told me that 50 students had expressed interest in doing it. I know he's gotten permission slips back for maybe half of those already. We have staff that have volunteered to help. And this is the first time we're adding the reunification piece to it. They've done the active shooter piece for it, but we're adding the reunification because that is a huge process. We never want to be in this situation, but we want to make sure that we have processes and procedures in place if we have to be in there. So I encourage you to join us that day. We'll probably start up here about 9 a.m. and run through the whole thing. We will post a message on Facebook because you will see police presence up here. You will see ambulance, fire, and people get alarmed. School is not in session, but we thought it would be a good day to practice. Admin team will know where they're stationed at and where we go in those processes and refine that process so that we can ensure that parents know. Because in a situation like that, we do not need parents flooding the school. We need them to head to the reunification site so that we can ensure that everything is covered here. And then we'll be putting those plans out for our families so that they know what to do. Of course, safety and security plans are confidential. They stay in the file, but we do want them to know what the reunification plans are in those situations. We are also hosting our town hall, Cocoa and Cookies, on next Wednesday, the 17th. It'll be here in the mini auditorium from 4 to 7:30. Staff, families, and community members are encouraged to stop by for just open dialogue. All of central office cabinet will be here. They can ask questions. They can share concerns with us one-on-one. We're available to listen. Or they can just simply stop by and say hello, enjoy some cocoa, cider, and cookies with us, just so we have that opportunity to hear anything that we may need to address and look at and work on. So feel free if you would like to stop in and serve some cocoa or get some cocoa. You know, if you show up, we might put you to work, just letting you know. So Tuesday, the accountability and accreditation results were released statewide, and I'm pleased to share encouraging progress across the school division. Although there is still work that we have to do, we understand what our focus areas are, and our data is reflecting momentum that we have in a lot of areas. So 4 of our 5 schools are fully accredited. Nottoway Middle School is conditionally accredited due to its ongoing federal status as a comprehensive school improvement. Comprehensive school in need of improvement. They were unable to exit that this year. There was no option for them to exit that, so that was the only status that they could get. But I am really proud to report that when that report came in, it showed that the middle school had demonstrated significant gains in mathematics. Yes, they had significant gains in math performance. That was noted since they first went in, that those gains have happened, reflecting that the right work is occurring in the building. We are looking for gains in not only science, we have strong people in place in those classrooms and in our reading this year with the new HMH reading program and the work that we're doing there and the vowels data and the testing. So I can only see them having even more momentum this year. Under the new performance framework, Nottoway High School, as I shared with you this evening, was a distinguished rating, and Crew Primary has to be commended as well, as they were identified as on track. So to both of those, kudos to both of those schools. Blackstone Primary and Nottoway Middle School were classified as off track, but both are close to meeting criteria for the next performance level. They are very close to the next score point. Just a few more tweaks, we can get over that hump that we are, and we can move forward with them. So they are really working hard in those buildings. Nottoway Intermediate School was designated as a needs intensive support. I will tell you, they were dropped a level. They would have been considered off track, but they dropped a level because they are a targeted school for improvement. That was a TSI designation, caused them automatically to be dropped down a level. So any school that was identified as TSI or ATSI, additional targeted support and interventions, or targeted, they're automatically dropped a level. And for intermediate school, this is tied to the outcomes of students with disabilities. So that is the focus area for that school, is that we want to ensure that the outcomes for our students with disabilities, that they're getting what they need, but in order for them to get what they need, students with disabilities are general education students first and foremost, and core solid instruction has to be where it's supposed to be, and that fixes a lot of the problems. I know Dr. Smith and Dr. Foster are working very intensely with their schools, staff, to ensure that we have procedures in place to help move the building forward and move our scores forward. So I just wanted to add that they automatically had to be dropped down a level. That was a requirement in this framework. Across all buildings, we see positive movement, targeted interventions, and alignment and instructional practices, and I can say we are moving in the right direction. We do have work to do, but we have things in place, and it's allowing us to move in the right direction. Again, I say this each month, but I cannot say it enough that our staff are exceptional. They are wonderful. They do a fantastic job. They are dedicated to their work. They have a commitment to Nottoway County Public Schools. They take pride in their work, and there's a sustained effort on behalf of students that are driving the improvements that we see. And we celebrate as we go ahead, and we keep looking for areas that we need to improve upon. So this is the last meeting before the Christmas holiday, and so I do want to wish each of you, our community, our staff, a Merry Christmas and a joyful holiday season. I look forward to great work as we continue into 2026.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. Information items, the January 26, 27 VSBA Capital Conference is scheduled for Richmond. Included in that as one of the days is the January 27th new school board chair and vice chair orientation at Richmond downtown. And January 28th, plan for a work session at the school board office. Now we'll go to other. Mr. Rowe.
I'd just like to say happy holidays to everyone.
Mr. Wilson.
I'd like to say this, happy holidays, everyone, and I still say we're getting ready to deal with our budget.
Yes,
I would
indeed.
love to see the community involved.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Mrs. Duncan?
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I really appreciated all the work that's been happening this year. I feel like we've been on a good track. I'm enjoying the track we're on. I'm seeing changes, not simply from a school board perspective, but as a parent perspective as well. And I very much appreciate that from all the staff members. There's no one staff member that's more important than the other, and I appreciate that. I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and truly the best New Year. And help make the new year in the school the best it can be by you being in it.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Mr. Outlaw?
Yes, as Dr. Martin just mentioned, Christmas is fast approaching, and this is a very special time of the year, and I find it totally appropriate that we name this event for what it is, Christmas break, not winter break. With that being said, I would like to make a motion that from this year and going forward, that we call Christmas what it is, Christmas break.
Is there a second? I'll second it for discussion.
I don't mean to step on anybody's toes when I say this, but we've got two Baptist preachers in here on this board. And this is Christmas. It's
Yeah, like what happened when we voted on this before. Yeah, I am a Baptist minister, but I also respect all faiths. And this break covers Hanukkah, it covers Kwanzaa, covers Christmas and New Year's. And that's what I said last time. It's not just Christmas.
And I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I fully understand. But for hundreds of years, over 200 years, this was Christmas. We have all acknowledged, sitting here, that it is Christmas. So let's call it what it is.
I respect, the thoughts of it. Some time ago, because I was very much aligned with you 110%. It's Christmas, it should not be called anything else. And then, however you wish to choose, one might choose to word it, I really got to thinking about, and forgive me if I offend anybody, that's not my intent, but I'm going to share something in a purpose of explaining why I would not support this. When Jesus came and when God, the creation and everything, it was to give us a choice. We have a choice to follow. We have a choice to not follow. There's no, He's not going to make you do something that we don't want to do. It is a choice. And thus, I feel like if we mandate something to be called Christmas, then we are mandating everybody to follow Christmas. And that's not how Jesus would represent that to us. And so I don't think it would be appropriate for me to mandate that others follow my chosen belief.
I'm going to make just a brief recommendation. Instead of calling it a Christmas break or a winter break, we know it's a holiday break, and then wish everyone the best in all of those areas that people celebrate.
Well,
Christmas,
call it winter
Christmas,
break.
Hanukkah.
We have a spring break and we have a winter break. So that kind of aligns it.
Well,
It leaves out everything else. It's a winter break in the winter And it's a spring break in the spring.
And I don't disagree that it's been called that here. My grandkids go to school, they call it Easter break. The spring break is called Easter break. Now,
But oftentimes, that break does not coincide with Easter.
Doesn't always
And
fall
it
with
can be quite a bit either side.
It may or may not. But it's all of those others, or people that celebrate the others, Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah. I don't see why it would be inclusive if you listed all of those.
We got to remember, it's still, it's a public school. And that's why we have it called spring break. That's why we have it called winter break. And I understand Mr. Outlaw's, and I agree with it, if this was a private school. But this is still a public school.
We've got this thing in this country that is fast falling away. That is a thing called tradition. And we've got many, many good traditions in this country, and we're letting them fall away.
We need to call for a vote.
Motion in a second. Mr. Abbott, you have a motion in a
You
second.
seconded it.
Yeah.
I can second.
Well, we can vote, motion on the floor, so we need to vote on it.
Okay. There's a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
It appears that the nays have it. Other, I will be very brief. I believe we still need to reach out to the Board of Supervisors to have that joint board work session. I believe also that we need to reinforce the notification of the close of Burkeville Elementary to those two organizations that currently are occupying space there, so that there is no doubt of the 30-day notice. We also need to, as a board, determine or develop the methods that we're going to use to provide our superintendent with the mid-year review. And on a personal note, I want to thank everyone for their understanding, and know that I will be moderately incapacitated for a period of time, but I will do everything that I can do to meet all my obligations.
Yes, indeed.
May I have the closed meeting resolution?
Yes, sir. Pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia, I move that the board convene a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing the following specific matters. A1, the consideration of personnel for A, 16 appointments, 5 substitute teachers, 1 custodian part-time, 3 food service workers part-time, 1 substitute custodian, 1 assistant cheerleading coach, 1 substitute food worker, 1 food service worker full-time, 2 instructional assistants, and 1 health PE. B, informational, 3 resignations. And pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A3, the discussion or consideration of real property.
Motion, may I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.